Hi, Bayside staff. My name is Holly Van Kempen. It is so incredible to connect with you guys today and share a little bit about my heart and how God has shaped me for this ministry. I've just got to say that I love the church and I love my family. I have been married to my incredible high school sweetheart, Trevor, for 9 years, and together we have 4 beautiful sons. Tanner is 7, Luca is 5, our third son Collins is in heaven with Jesus, and Gideon is 3, and they are an absolute blast. I love my family. I have been a believer in Jesus for 14 years, 9 of which I have been serving alongside on staff with my husband in various ministries. We've been a part of kids, we've been a part of youth, discipleship, admin. If there is a ministry, we've probably had a hand on it because our heart is to serve the church and help where we need to help with our giftings. But when I'm not at church, I am usually with my family. I love to bake for friends. I love to cook with my husband. I love to write, and I love a good puzzle because my brain loves to problem solve. I believe that's one of the unique ways that God has shaped my mind with this strategic and organized part to help people not fall through cracks. But to also just create systems and structures so that can happen. But with that, I believe that God has placed this deep love for people in my heart. I love that relational side of ministry where I get to actually pair my strategic mind with that relational side so that people really feel seen and cared for. And as you watch this video, I just really hope that you see that I love Jesus. I love my family, and I just love people. All right, so let's jump into the second question, describing the ideal seat to street experience I would implement for a weekend service. So I could list the general positions, parking lot team and greeters and ushers and plenty of smiles across the board. I don't believe that the seat to street experience can or should be generalized because every guest entering on site is going to have a unique story and a unique set of needs. For example, a family with young children, they're going to require a different level of support than a single young 20-year-old who just has a completely different set of needs. So it's not a one size fits all. However, I do think what is consistent that every guest should leave Bayside feeling welcomed, like they mattered, and like they experienced the love of Jesus. And there's a few ways that this can be done. I think first, all staff needs to be aligned with how guests are going to be cared for. There's going to be consistency and clarity there. I believe that each volunteer team needs to have a general understanding of the different areas of ministry. So they just have a simple way to guide someone if they don't have the answer, for their next step. I think of it as a template, like everyone receives the same foundational experience, like warm greetings and clear signage, smooth transition, and intentional follow-up. Then we can go the extra mile and be true hosts and not just friendly faces. So while you might say a street to seat experience, I think it's more than that. I think it's a street to seat to street to follow-up experience because we truly want to get these people plugged into community and cared for after they leave, because that is just important as the first impression that they walk in. Question number 3, describe the system I would implement to recruit and equip the volunteer team. So when I think of this, I think of it more than just, we got a volunteer, let's plug them into a database and have them serve. I think of it more as helping them discover how God has uniquely gifted them and then creating a space for them to thrive in that role. So let's look at this as 5 simple steps. We have identify and connect. Then we're going to have discover gifts. We're going to be equipping, empowering, and supporting. So starting with identifying and connecting, we have to get to know people. We have to hear their story. And with that, then we can discover their gifts alongside of them. From there, I would create a clear onboarding process where there was shadowing opportunities. Their roles would be clearly written out for them so that there was no confusion and they felt like they can truly understand what was expected of them. And then I would follow up with them to make sure that each person, they felt connected, they felt equipped, and they felt confident in what they were doing. From there, equipping them and providing them with tools and regular training so they can stay up to date with the vision and procedures that we have going on. And then empowering them. Empower them because leaders recruit leaders and leaders should be discipling leaders. That is what Jesus calls us to do. So finally, I believe that support is critical. So volunteers need ongoing support. They need ongoing encouragement, coaching, and care. So they don't just serve, but they're also growing in their walk with Jesus. Because when people step into their giftings, are trained with clarity, and supported with care, we don't just build teams, we multiply ministries. So that creates a healthy, sustainable culture where volunteers thrive and guests experience the love of Christ at every interaction. So that is how I would equip and train volunteers. Question number 4, I love this question. How would I describe a healthy volunteer culture? So scripture tells us to serve one another in love. That should be the heartbeat of every volunteer team. Volunteers should know that they are appreciated, that they are celebrated and honored for the unique contribution that they bring. As we've been talking throughout this entire video, when people feel valued and seen, they show up differently. An excitement and a passion will naturally follow, and they will feel empowered to serve with joy. But it also means creating a sense of ownership. So volunteers should know that what they do is a vital part of the mission. Every team member should have clear vision of the ministry and feel equipped and positioned to operate within it. Finally, I think it's about fit. So making sure volunteers are serving in areas aligned with their gifting and callings. We talked about this in the last question. So discovering your giftings, right? When these pieces all come together, volunteers thrive, guests will feel welcomed, and the ministry as a whole will flourish. So that is what I think is a healthy volunteer culture. Let's jump into question number 5, the best and worst customer experience I've had and what made it stand out. So the best is actually quite simple. I used to go to a small coffee shop, Tour Le Jour, near our old church, and I would order the matcha. I love my drinks sweet. There's sweet and then there's Holly's level of sweet. And when I took the first drink of this, the barista noticed that it just didn't meet my standard. She let me know that there was a bitter blend she could remove and she would remake it. It was the best matcha I had ever had. And so I came back week after week. And what kept me coming back is they started anticipating my arrival. Before I would even get there, they would have my drink ready for me, and they just really made me feel like I mattered. And on the flip side, my worst experience was a hotel in Rome. When we walked in, we were met with by a hostess that said that they had a scheduled maintenance that would knock out the power that night. With the power was their air conditioning, was their Wi-Fi, and she said that it would turn on an emergency light in the room that wouldn't wake up a light sleeper. That night we went to bed, and there was an emergency generator that could light up a hallway in our room. We did not sleep that night. And what made this experience worse was that there were no apologies, there were no accommodations, and there was no refunds. So on both of these experiences, I went in with an expectation, right? My expectation for Rome was really high, and it ended up being really low. My expectation for Tour Le Jour was whatever, and they exceeded my expectations. So I want to relate this back to guest experience. So the question we need to be asking are, what are people looking for when walking into Bayside? People are going to have expectations, right? We will never meet all their expectations. However, what they will remember is how you made them feel. So at Tour Le Jour, I had a $5 matcha and some incredible pastries. I came back week after week for a year. Versus Rome, a dream vacation, I left never wanting to come back. So why does this matter? Because people want to feel like they matter. That is why I kept coming back. And this is exactly what a great guest experience can do, because every interaction shapes how someone encounters or is ready to encounter Jesus. And in this role, I want every guest to leave with that same sense of care and intentionality. And that's what I think people are seeking when they attend Bayside. That leads us directly into question number 6. Why do I think great guest experience matters so much at church? People are seeking. When they walk on site that day, they may not know what they're looking for, but God put them there for a reason. And every interaction, be it the parking lot team, welcome center, or even the message, can either open the door for someone to encounter Jesus, or it can create a barrier. And a welcome and intentional environment shows people that they are seen, that they are valued, and that they are cared for. It reflects God's heart for hospitality, and that they are in a place where they belong. And at the same time, guest experience isn't just about first impressions. It's about lasting impressions and connecting people to community, helping them take their next steps. And that's why I'm passionate about building systems. That is why I'm passionate about training volunteers and leading teams in a way that combines excellence with genuine care. And in this role, I want every guest leaving campus feeling like they have been seen that day, like they have been heard that day, and like they have been loved by Jesus. I want to finish with this. What excites me about this role is that when I was reading the job description, it literally feels like me, and I want to use my giftings to help serve the mission of Bayside. I want long-term members and new guests to have an incredible guest experience. I look forward to hearing from you soon.